The death of Superman story arc has to be one of the most iconic and well known story arcs in all of comic book history. Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. He's been my favorite superhero since probably 2013 when I watched the Man of Steel, a movie by Zack Snyder. Really brought a love to the character for me, and ever since then I've tried my best to check out different mediums for Superman's character. And when I jumped into comics about 2 years ago and I started reading comic books, the Death of Superman story arc was one that I was recommended, but also that I heard was very overrated and not that good. So I thought, why not talk today? And don't get it wrong, guys, I will cover this entire story in a separate video dedicated to giving the story of this book, this story arc. But this video is not to talk about the entire story and, kind of go through it. This video is to talk about, is the Death of Superman story arc overrated or overhated? And I'm just gonna give my thoughts. I'm pretty sure not everyone's gonna agree, but I thought, I'll give my thoughts on why I love this story arc and why I recommend it for any new comic book fan or even, a seasoned comic book fan in general. But yeah, let's jump right into this discussion. So the Death of Superman story arc is very controversial because it does feature the death of Superman when Superman fought against Doomsday and died in this battle. Now, Superman, throughout this story, basically is just, fighting Doomsday. This story does not feature a grandiose, plot-driven story. The main point of it was to bring Superman to his knees and to basically kill him all. This was done for shock value. This was done to, bring in more fans, to bring in respect for the Superman character in the 90s. There's awesome videos on YouTube detailing the history behind the scenes of what led up to the Death of Superman story arc. I don't want to do that because I'm a firm believer that, when it comes to the comic book community, I like to leave things that I believe are really well done, such as video ideas, to the people that did it. So there's already tons of great videos that I would never touch if I were to talk about it. So I definitely recommend you go check out stuff like that from other comic creators, comic book community creators. But yeah, so when it came to this, like I said, the point was to kill Superman off. Superman had gotten to the point where he was struggling because Spider-Man was very popular, Batman was very popular. Because of this thing that they did, it gave us the Nightfall story arc for Batman, and it gave us the Clone Saga that people really hate for Spider-Man. So there was good things that came out of this, and there was bad things that came out of this after this story arc that came out. But why do I like it? Let's jump into this. So I think the story works, and the reason why I think it works is in the beginning you had the narrative of this unkillable monster breaking his way from the ground and coming up into the surface. I mean, it's almost poetic in a way because Superman came from space in a space pod, basically spaceship, and he came from the sky like an angel. And then Doomsday comes from the ground itself and breaks out of the ground and starts just killing and destroying everything like a devil, like a demon. And I think that stuff like that is very good for a symbolic point of view, but also it shows that the writing that went into it had some thought put into it. And the whole progression of their fight, going from some, faraway town all the way to Metropolis, Superman's, home basically, and for that to be the resting spot for Superman, where he gets killed off, I think that's very poetic, and I think it works. We got to see tons of characters such as Lois Lane. We got to see like a shape-shifting version of Supergirl, like some alien trying to be Supergirl. Got to see Alexander Luthor. We got to see the Justice League of America that was during the 90s take on Doomsday and royally failing, really bad. We had an awesome scene with Guy Gardner getting his face smashed into the pavement of where they were fighting Doomsday. And we also got to see some hot-headed characters such as that woman, I forgot what her name is, that blows some telephone pole like on Doomsday and Superman, and it causes this giant explosion. And we even get some dark moments with Doomsday killing a bird, basically, that was just flying by when he first gets out of the ground. Doomsday is a monster, and I think that's another reason why this story works for me, is Doomsday as a villain. I think there's times in comics that you have a villain that just makes a name for themselves, such as the Joker, someone like Carnage, someone like Venom, someone like Bane, that really has this one moment that defines them. I think Doomsday, right when he came on the scene, and he was making Superman really worried about would he actually be able to stop this threat, really brought a level of danger that we hadn't seen for Superman in a long time. And for some people that were growing up during that time, I would think that they had never seen Superman like this. Those that were just like little kids reading the ongoing Superman stories. And to see someone like Doomsday, and for this grand moment where he was the one that killed Superman, basically made Superman fight so hard that he killed himself, or they killed each other, left a huge impact. And just like Bane breaking Batman's back would be the defining moment for this character, no matter what happens and what has happened the last 20 something years or 20 plus years, it won't ever change the fact that Doomsday will always be remembered as the monster that killed Superman. Now, do I think that there's things that they could have done with this character later on? Of course. I have read a ton of Doomsday stories that take place after the death of Superman story arc, and I do think they're fantastic as well. But yeah, this was his defining moment, and I think that's why this story works as well, is Doomsday is the main villain, and he leaves a lasting impact on the reader. Now, the third point I want to bring up when it comes to this story is the writing and the panel layout. Now, I think that when we're talking about a comic book, and you're talking about a story arc or whatever in general, it could be a single story, single issue, it could be a full-on graphic novel, it could be a volume, trade paperback, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you want to look at. When it comes to its layout and when it comes to its writing, it's very important. And I think that when it comes to the death of Superman's story arc, the writing itself was good. Was it the greatest? No, but it was good. But I think the thing that makes it shine the most, this story arc, for me at least, when I read it for the first time, was the panel layout. I think one thing we can all agree on is that final issue where Superman battles Doomsday in Metropolis had some of the greatest and unique panel layout thought process that went into that in comic book history, especially in the superhero genre. The way that every page had less and less panels until it became just full-on splash pages for every page, showing Superman and Doomsday having their final few clashes until finally they clash for a final time, and Superman dies in Lois's arms, ending the story arc in the comic. It was just fantastic, and it's something that a lot of people have praised over the years, but I think that it's really something that's very underrated. And I think panel layout itself, writing, I think everyone, thinks about it a little bit, but panel layout is very not thought about whenever you're reading a comic. But it's something that really does impact on how you read it and how you enjoy the story, the flow of the story. And I think whoever did the panel layouts, which I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to name any names, but whoever did the panel layouts did a really good job. And I think that along with the writing being at least good, again, makes this story arc enjoyable, and it makes it a good read for a beginner that's getting into comics, but also for someone that just wants to see what the superhero genre looks like at a very enjoyable and, experimental level, I guess you could say, with how the panel layouts were done. It wasn't very basic like what you usually see, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I really do usually prefer basic 4-panel grids, but what they did in this comic was fantastic, and it definitely earned its place in history with how they handled the battle between Superman and Doomsday in that final issue. And yeah, I think that's all, guys. Like I said, I'm gonna draw a video actually going through the entire book, like I do for my other retrospectives / reviews. But this video, I just want to talk about why I feel like it's actually overhated. I titled this video, "Is it overrated or overhated?" And I think that it's up to the reader to decide. Some people would see it as overrated because there are people like me that really do love this story, and I can understand that. But I think there's also people like me that think it's overhated, because you do see a lot of people say that the story is very crappy, and that, you know, it's only nostalgia that keeps people wanting to read this or say that it's good. And I don't know about that. Just like I said, I got into comics 2 years ago. Never read a Superman comic. You know, I think I got into the New 52 Superman comics, but yeah, I didn't have a lot of experience whenever I read this, and I read it 2 years ago, and I loved it then. Getting the material for this video, and I've even read it, you know, multiple times, I think, beforehand. Loved it every time, and it's just one story that's very dear to my heart, and I do think it's overhated. But I'm gonna leave it down to you guys. Comment down below what you think. Would you say the Death of Superman story arc overrated or overhated? But I think that's gonna be all, guys. Until the next video, God bless you, and until the next lesson, keep on reading those comics.
I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out. My future needed clarity. So I